we'll switch off and we'll listen to each one of us. How does that sound? Look, it shouldn't be that scary, guys. I know that it is, but look, it's talking to people and having a conversation. How can I help you? What can we do to make this work? Look, there are humans just like us who have a high desire, high need. But anyway, welcome to base camp. Thanks for being here. Hopefully, George will be walking through the door and I won't have to do it. But let's talk real quick. What announcements do we have, Chris? It's crazy being gone a couple days. How you got totally unplugged. I mean, it feels like, it feels so weird. I mean, we just got back from the Mike Ferry recruiting school. Wow. What were some of your takeaways?
I will give a lot of takeaways. I'll buy some time. So for me, it's more of like, isn't it so interesting that we have so much build up for us when we make calls? He just talks about FSBOs and how many hands shot up in the air.
Yeah.
Like it's hard for us until we actually put things into place and take action to see the possibilities that come out of it, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times we have all this build up and stuff in our heads and all this stuff, but if we know the end goal, and if we know without a doubt that doing that activity is going to get us what we want, and we decide on that, like, you aren't able to believe in it so much until you act on it. So you just have to take that first step, and same for everyone. Like once you make that first call for FSBOs, it's always the toughest. Or when you get to a neighborhood, you sit in your car and you start thinking maybe this isn't the right neighborhood for me to door knock, and it's take longer and all this stuff. But like, that is such an important point. Like as soon as you make that decision to jump into it, make that call, and then everything else, you find out just how feasible it is to reach your goals.
What's crazy is it's the first, 1 to 5 that's really, really difficult. I don't care if you're actually calling recruiting like we do, or if it's calling it for sell by owner. Even an SOI, why is it so difficult to talk to people that know us and love us? Why is that?
Pride.
It's pride. It's ego. It's, I don't want to bug them. I don't want to sound salesy. You're a salesperson. They know that. But look, I'm just calling to give you an update on the market and what it's doing. But by the way, how's things going, Leslie? Is it good? Family great? Mm-hmm. Awesome. Hey, you know what? I was just calling to let you know I'm still in real estate. Do you know anybody who's looking to buy or sell? It's really that simple, yeah.
Yeah, half of the time they forget that you're in the business.
Yes.
And just reminding them that, hey, I'm doing this, I'm just checking up on you. And if you actually tell them that this is the reason that you're calling, also, hey, how's things going?
Yes.
That's why you know interest rates are like this, or the market is like this. How's it going?
There's the key, right? Bringing them something of value. Because look, guess what? They don't live in our world. They got a different world going on out there that has nothing to do with real estate. You bringing them what the market is doing is valuable information. Guess what? Agents who've been in the business for any time at all do a lot of business with their SOI. Brenda Lee, that's probably your main focus, right?
SOI.
What is it that you say and do when you call your people?
It varies. I just always try to bring value. I don't say the same every time, and I don't always say, well, if you know someone that needs help with real estate, because they know I'm in real estate.
Yeah. But they know, right?
Because she calls them.
Because she called. But see, that's Joanne. That's the reality. She calls. She reminds them, hey, I'm here. But look, if it's somebody I haven't talked to in a long time, my angst is they know why I'm calling. It's to get real estate. Doesn't have to be. Okay, hey, I'm bringing you information. They know you're in real estate. I'll just, hey, if you know anybody's looking to buy or sell, just keep me in mind. Is that okay? And I'll call you a little more often if that's okay too. Just have a conversation. Have fun with it. Look, for sell by owners are going to be mean anyway, for the most part.
And with what you're hearing from Rick up here, when he set up there originally, I'm in sales, like, are you looking to buy or sell or anything like that? Did you guys feel awkward at all about it? Sometimes we dance around it so much, it shows a lack of confidence, and it just creates that awkwardness that's like, people want to get away from. So say who you are right off the bat. I remember during the prospecting clinic that the trainer there, she said a lot of times people will pick up and they'll say, "You're not a recruiter, are you?" And what did she say? You remember?
Well, why? Are you looking to change?
Yeah, I am. Are you looking to make a change? So
yes.
Come out with it, say who you are and what you're about, and then people will buy into it. But you don't have to dance around it forever and not say who you are and try and pull the wool over their eyes, because that's when they run away.
They know who you are.
The one thing I think is really important that's really worked for me is I make myself accountable to call them again. So if I call someone today and I leave a message, I always leave a message with my SOI. Hey, I'm just touching base, seeing how your summer went. I'm going to call you before the snow flies. I'm always here to help you. Boom.
Yeah.
Now I put it in my little tickler file. I better be calling them before the snow flies. I will call them before the snow flies. And I'll say, hey, I told you I was going to call you. I'm building integrity. And there are many, more of my SOI that have referred me than I've ever worked with. They know I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do. And that's golden.
That is golden. And it really builds a great business. It's pretty much what you do to create the great business you've had, right? Look, all of you, even you brand new people who are trying all these for sale by owners and doing that business, no, your business will build from your SOI and it'll sustain from that if you do it. So the question is, we're having this pumpkin patch. Who is participating? Ooh, I love it. Are you calling them also? So what are you getting at? What do you call them?
Oh, you know, I'll, if I haven't talked to them, well, I'll actually apologize for it.
Thank you. That's so good. Good.
And then I'll say, you know what, I'm so excited, we're having a client appreciation and I want to invite you. Even if they're grandparents, I let them know and I'll write on there that, you know, bring your grandkids, this is a great little opportunity to spend time there.
I love it. Look.
And that takes the, and for those that feel that they're calling for business, it takes the pressure off. I mean, and again, it's value, and you're thinking about them.
Yeah, I want to invite you out to this great event again we're having. Bring the kids, bring the grandkids, bring whoever they're going to bring.
Every year that I've participated, I've had more and more.
Yes. What a great way to get in front of them. So remember, that event we are doing, leverage in. Okay, another question. Who is doing the listing contest? Wow. All of you should be. It's free stuff. So, Jason, do you have any numbers for us of who's our leader on that?
No, there's a
point leader.
A few that we have to verify some things on.
Okay. So, Chris, Jason, how are we gonna? What are we gonna do
for this week?
Yeah, for this week. For those who are participating. This is an Amazon $25 gift certificate. So hands up for those who are participating again. How many listings since we started this?
One.
One? Okay. How many listings since two? Who else had their hand up? One. You had two. Who else was participating? Okay. You win. Okay, great. Okay. Guys, look, leverage in on this, okay? This is, maybe I'm just too competitive, I don't know, I could be. But look, this is a way to really supercharge your business. Get in, make it happen. This is great stuff going on. So, today, so glad to see George walk through the door, because if it wouldn't have been, it would have been us up here calling and doing this for you. But anyway, George is going to call for sale by owners today, show you how to get in the middle. And let me ask you this question. What company do you think out there, the owner, the founder, the guy on top is actually coming into the arena and showing you how it's done? That doesn't happen, just for the record.
Exit Realty.
Exit Realty. Right.
That's what Curtis said.
Exit Realty. Look, guys, this is exciting stuff. George does some amazing things. He's our leader, mentor, and we appreciate you more than ever being here right now. So do you want a table up here that you can do?
You know what? You guys are working on that, but I want to go through a handful of other stuff. So I know that they're going to work on getting another phone. If not, I'll do it on my cell phone.
Okay.
But I just want to talk first. I want to set kind of the stage of what I want this to be, and then In 2 weeks, I'm going to do it again. So it's good to see you guys. Good to be with you guys. Looking around the room, seeing who I'm with. Hi, Ginger. How are you? All right, who's back there? Oh, all right, it's Jeff. All right, just checking. And even my own daughter.
Hello.
Wow, that means it's really a big deal, John, that we're here. If she shows up, it's a big deal. So, all right. Okay, so I want to talk just about, we're gonna do prospecting, right? So we're gonna make some live calls. We're gonna do this whole thing. But the thing that I want you to take away from this is really just what I consider a platform or a model of how to weave through a call. And so I want to list a number of different things up here, and then what we're going to do through the call is you're going to be able to identify and say, oh wow, either you did this or you didn't do this, or this went great or that didn't go so great. And here's what I have a deep belief whenever I go on a presentation, whenever I make a call, is that there is never the perfect call, there is never the perfect presentation. Even if you made it and you got it, you know what? You probably could have done something just a little faster, a little better, a little more effectively, more efficiently. So just constantly keep that in mind. I don't think that any call I will make today, you will sit there and go, oh wow, that was the perfect call. You're going to say, oh wait, he didn't do this, and oh, he could have done that, and that's why we're here. That's what we're doing, right? Mari, are you going to be the other agent who's going to actually also make calls in front of everybody? You are? Now Linda. Should we have Linda do it? Who do you want, you or Linda?
I can do it.
Wow, look at that, Leslie. It's impressive. All right, here we go. So I want to talk about a basic call. All right, so if I look at every call is going to be is with one objective. I'm just going to put number one up here for this one thing. Everything else, there's actually no order. I don't care what order it is. But I just want to point this one thing out. What's the number one objective of prospecting? I know it seems like, well, duh. I am fascinated. I'm just going to put the word up here, focus. And I'm just fascinated when I get on calls or I listen to people or they're at a presentation or they're in the call. And for so many years, I'm fascinated as they go around everything else, building rapport, creating value, separating themselves from the competition, putting all this trust into the game and into the call. And all of a sudden, at the end of the day, no appointment. I just, look, you have to, every call, every time you get on the phone, whatever it is you're trying to do, you have to start with the end in mind. So just remember that. It's not, like, it's just something you have to be very mindful of, because otherwise, when you forget that, everything takes longer. When you forget that, the presentations to buyers or sellers becomes much longer. The prospecting becomes much longer. Okay, so I'm just going to rip through these just because of time. I'm going to give you, I guess, if that makes sense, the answers at some level, and then I'll ask you on some of them. And then next, I'm not going to number any of these, but the second thing that I would put up here, and that is that you have to have energy. You have to have, I'm just going to put here enthusiasm. I don't need you jumping around, but what I do know is that, bless you, is that when we have to match rates of speech and we have to match tonality, is that takes a tremendous amount of energy and focus. Because the fact is, in fact, I heard Chris at the prospecting school you were at just last week, or yesterday, I heard John say, hey, really listen closely to how they say hello. And all of that stuff takes focus and energy, and yes, maybe the enthusiasm of your voice and your energy, that's fine, but just think about how you're approaching every call. And we'll get into the hello in a minute, but sometimes it's the only thing you have to work from. And it's the only thing you can hear when you answer. Go ahead, Chris.
Oh, just really quickly, what he actually told me was I was matching tonality, but I was saying hi when they said hello. So we match that to a T, so we can use the same word.
Yeah, perfect, okay? All right, so we talk about this whole idea of rapport, so I'm just gonna put this up here. So we're gonna create rapport, and yes, that is how you spell it, even though everyone always questions me when I put it up here, but it is R-A-P-P-O-R-T. And then that leads to comfort, and then what I want you to look at is, do we lead anybody, right? So if we build rapport, we build this connection. Another word you could put up here in here is also, is there a connection? When that connection has occurred, when they feel comfortable, and in simple terms, when people feel comfortable, they allow you to lead them. It is that simple. It's not complicated, but it seems to be complicated to get to that point, but it's not complicated in principle. People are comfortable, they let you lead them. Uncomfortable, they go, no way. Think about your political process, right? How many of you, by show of hands, are totally comfortable with Donald Trump leading you today? Does it make you uncomfortable? I'm serious. It's interesting, right? It's fascinating how many people get uncomfortable with any process of someone who's leading them if they're not comfortable. Okay? Next. Number one building block of building rapport is what? And Jason Carlson, don't answer that. What is the number one principle of building rapport? It's the number one thing that creates it.
Asking great questions.
Thank you. I should have said you too. Don't answer that. But it's all good. Nice job.
I waited long as I could.
Yes. Okay, so look. That's all scripts are. Oh, I don't like that script. It's just not me. Well, then what is you? Is it you like just babbling and talking? Or do you actually ask questions when you prospect? So the key to creating great connection is your ability to ask questions. And I'm just going to put them up here, but I'm not going to put the whole question, but just the beginnings of these questions. And what I hope, some of you should, if you don't, and I would love it if you just did it yourself instead of saying, hey, did someone else already put this together? But what I'm going to do by the time we're up here in about 15 minutes is you're going to see its outline and you're going to be like, man, if all of that happened in a call, it's going to be a great call. And it will be a great call as you go through all these things. So you're going to have an outline that I wish that you'd almost create as your cheat sheet to this process. So on the asking questions for me is I always like to ask a few of these different questions. And that is, share with me, and again, it could be the next question, then finish it with the question. Help me understand. Okay? What's most important? I can promise you what you'll see on the call or calls is that I'm going to do that over and over again. And then I will do this. Tell me a little bit more about that. And why that's important is because that's what happens in between the questions when you say, hey, I study homes and prices every day, therefore, or that's pre-qual, let's see, give me one more, if you were to move, where are you going next? They say LA, you say LA, that's great, and the next question on the script is, I think, if I recall, is, well, when do you need to be there? How soon do you have to be there? What I want you to be asking in that scenario is, well, gosh, help me understand what's taking you to LA. Well, share with me a little bit more about that. Tell me a little more about that, and then we're going to finish. Who knows what this fifth question is?
What do we have to do to work together?
No, but that's a great question, but it's not these 5 questions. We need to spend more time together. Who said that?
Jason Carlson.
Who did say that? Was it Jason?
I mumbled it. There's a couple mumblers.
All right, is there anything else? You're going to see that, I promise. If you sign a coaching session with me, that's what you're going to get from me too. All right, and then all of this, sometimes I'll just put over here, summarize. And then the summarization is usually this, simply like this, something like this. What I hear you saying is, and guess what I'm going to finish with? What I hear you say is you're moving to LA, you got a new job, you're going to have upgrades, it's going to be great, you're going to be next to family, you're going to earn more money, it's a beautiful area you're going to, better school, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm going to say,
Anything else?
don't leave me hanging.
Is there
anything else? And they're going to say, oh. Or they may say, well, yeah, I mean, there is one other thing, my mom is really ill and whatever. But you will do more at that point than most agents will have ever done because you got down into the emotion and to the heart of a conversation. So just remember how important it is to ask great questions. What makes Barbara Walters, Oprah, and the millions of dollars they earn, or Tom Cruise, Julia Roberts, George Clooney, they are paid millions of dollars to do what?
Ask questions.
Follow a script, which is simply asking questions. Fascinating, isn't it? And yet then we go, well, I don't like that. That's just not me. I don't get it. I never have.
Can I add to that?
Sure.
People say, that's just not me. You're right, it's not you.
Because you don't ask questions.
You're being for them who they need you to be. You're not necessarily being for you who you need to be.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I didn't bring that up. But, I usually talk about that up in here, and I would say, right, what is your job? Your job isn't to be you. Your job is to be what they need you to be. If you're you, well, most people don't like you, and that's a problem. I mean, only a quarter of the people have your personality type and will go, oh, I really like you. You're an analytical too. Well, I'm a driver and an expressive, and analyticals drive me nuts when they go into psychoanalyzation. Jason Carlson. Right?
Drivers only make up 9% of the population.
Really?
Not a quarter. It's not an even distribution.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
They're all in this room.
That sounds like an analytical speech.
Someone's already.
But my point is that look, your whole point is right. My whole point is you have to be who they need you to be, and people will say, well, wait, isn't that manipulative? Yes, and we'll put this up here as part of the thing, and that is and maybe just 1 second, and that is
Persuasive, not manipulative.
right, is simply this: what is your intention? And if I was to break that up, I would say, are you persuading or are you manipulating? Something to write down if you're taking notes is manipulation is short-lived. Persuasion lasts a long time. Because persuasion isn't forceful. Persuasion isn't demanding. Persuasion is almost always with patience, love, kindness, all these things. All these things you actually read in some nice scriptures. It doesn't matter what scripture and what religion you read from. All of a sudden you start realizing, wait a second, why do I keep hearing all these same things from all these great teachers, leaders, and people who have lived on this earth from centuries ago? Why? Because they know that's the best way, the most effective way to lead. Or we can come over here and we can manipulate and force and connive and pile drive someone into submission. And the only difference between the two really is the intentions that you have. Because here's the sad part is oftentimes the manipulator is going to be loving and they're going to try to cloak it in some fashion. And the sad part is the difference between these manipulation and persuasion is what are your intentions? And your intention is this, and my opinion is that you shouldn't, your intention is to be what you need to be for them, because your intention is to take care of them. It's not about you, it's about them. And if you have to be someone who you're not, meaning maybe you need to slow down, ask more questions, analyze a little bit more, maybe be more expressive, maybe you need to be more of a driver at that moment, maybe you need to be more of an amiable and everyone has to, really hug and sing Kumbaya, then you do it because that's what they need. And if you're focused on what they need, then it's a whole different experience. In the good words of Zig Ziglar, help enough people get what they want, you inevitably will get what you want. It always happens.
I was just going to say that of all the deals I've ever done, I've only had one person say to me, and you know me, I dig deep.
Right.
I try to be super personal, and I only had one person say, I don't know, that's an easier business, I don't want to talk about it. And then I said something like, oh, I understand it, life is really hard. And then he told me anyway, after that. But the other thing is you want the answers to these questions. This is what makes it a personal transaction.
Yeah.
And then take ridiculous notes. I mean, make sure you're writing everything down that they say, and then when you get back to your CRM, put every single thing in there. This is powerful for all of your follows for the rest of the years that you know them.
Yeah.
You want to know that little Johnny lost his tooth the day that you were taking the listing presentation. 2 years from now, you're bringing that up.
Love that.
So it just takes ridiculous
about
notes.
building the spirit. I love that. Well, what's interesting is, these are just the two words, right? And that is, what do they want and why do they want it? And boy, if you can figure that out, you can do some great things in your presentations and your prospecting. Okay. So, energy, rapport. Now let's just talk about a few other different skill sets and we'll jump on a call here. But I just want to point out these, and that is let's just start with this one. Rate of speech. Okay. Speech with an A or in it 2 E's?
2 E's.
All right, just checking. See, I want to pick on you, but I just can't help myself. So I want to pick on my daughter, Andrew.
It's because you can't think of anything to say.
I always have materially with you. So Linda, did you know I sat in the back of a car, and she was in the back of a car with Dylan one day in probably her junior, senior year, and I'm driving along, and she says, we have a question. Yes, what's the question? Well, we just don't get it. And what don't you get? how is it that you have a company and yet you did not go to college? And because you can't possibly, and I still remember her thinking like, my dad cannot be smart possibly because he did not go to college. And she still doesn't think I'm smart, so that's good. But I have so far been able to pay for the Mackenzie Morris Foundation, and that whether I'm smart or not, I have been able to pay for it so far. But still, the classic of all classics, by the way, is when she was first. Yeah, this is true. Now she will. No one's heard this story, Jason. She's gonna be mad, and she'll be like, "Why do you do this? I've never come in your class again." But she did say when she was first getting married, she was so worried about the economic future, Matt, that she asked me for a stipend, and the best script I came up with I go, a stipend, like a monthly, like me give you money, like monthly? And I said, you know what? Wrong script. That should be going to your husband. And I said, do you remember that conversation? And I said,
Oh my gosh.
and I said, you're talking to the wrong guy. And I said, but if you're in dire straits in emergency and you can't eat, or you don't have a bed to sleep in, first of all, you will never sleep in this house as a couple and stay in my home. Unless it's like Christmas Eve night, and it's like, the day before Christmas. That was actually, when the guy asked me to come ask me with Leslie for her hand in marriage, was it 3.5 hours?
Yeah.
It was 3.5 hours later, and they told him, you better bring your journal. And that is a true story. And I told him, write this down. You will never, ever live in my house or your parents'. And he's like, okay, I go write it down. That's a true story. So. That's nice, Curtis.
It's fancy.
I know.
But then we bought our own house. So
She did. She now owns her own home. And Curtis, did I help at all?
No.
I didn't help at all, Chris. So nothing.
Standard of excellence.
Yes.
We held them to it.
That's right. All right, so rates of speech, right? So just real quick, if you're talking really fast, which I love to talk fast, so if I talk real fast, the guy who talks real slow thinks I'm probably doing what? Trying to pull something over on him, right?
Yes.
If I'm talking really slow, right? So let's just put I know there's medium in between all that, but let's just put fast, slow. And I want you to pay attention to that, because if I speak too fast to who I'm talking to on the phone, and here's the deal, how long do I need to match their rate of speech? Until when? Until we're in rapport, right, Brenda Lee? So once we're in rapport, I can be me because we're connected at that point. They're comfortable with me, right? But until I get into rapport, and I didn't ask this, Timber, how do you know you're in rapport? How do you know you're in rapport?
You feel comfortable on the phone.
Yes, Kenneth, we talked, right? How do you know? It is your God-given right to feel. So you feel. So here's the deal. If you feel uncomfortable, guess what they feel? Uncomfortable. Don't close at that moment. That's like, I'm feeling really comfortable. Do you want to sign the contract? I'm like, what are you guys doing? All of a sudden, it like blows up in your face, and you're sitting there going, why is this not working? Or you're asking them to meet with you, and you can feel the disconnect. But you went to an event, and they said, better close 5+ times. Do you want, and all of a sudden, you say, I can help you get what you want the time you want. Won't that be great? And all of a sudden, they're hanging up on you because you're closing when there's all this discomfort. So your right as a human being is to feel. If you feel comfortable, they feel comfortable. If you're uncomfortable, they're uncomfortable. I guarantee you. Right? Just like when you walk into a room and you can feel the joy in a room, or you can walk in a room and you're like, whoa, there is a really heavy feeling in the room, right? Like the thing that just take the polar opposites. Walking in and feeling the excitement of a football game or a basketball game, or maybe a playoff game, and then take the full way on the other side of it in most cases to walk into a funeral. And those are totally different feelings when you walk in. And all I'm trying to point out is that when you feel something, listen to your intuition, right? Listen to who you are. Listen here for a moment. All right? Get out of here for a minute when you're in those moments and you're in those scripts and you're in those dialogues, and listen to your heart for a minute and ask yourself, wait, am I feeling comfortable here? If you are, close. If not, then ask more questions. That's it. You just simply ask more questions. Okay? All right, so rate of speech, fast, slow, slow. They're going to think I'm dumb. Too fast, they're thinking I'm trying to pull one over on them. Silver tongue, realtor, trying to take advantage of me. So I'm going to go back to number one, number two. You think that takes a lot of energy to do this? For me to go from this, which is my natural state, to that is like agonizing to me. And you know what? I promise you, if we get someone who talks slow, you will hear me talk slow. But I won't talk slow the whole time until I'm in rapport. Then I'm leading them. Then what you'll see them is they'll speed up and talk just a little bit faster. It's just what will happen. Okay? Any thoughts, questions, comments? It's helpful?
Yes.
Okay? Okay, so next. We're going to just do a few of these things. You're going to see this a lot. In most cases, right? Pattern ups. Give me an example of pattern up. I hate agents. I don't want to work with agents. I've had one of your agents already over. I've met with Century 21.
You know what? I feel the same way as you. So tell me a little bit about the kitchen.
Perfect. You did two things in that. We'll get to that in a second. Okay. So the pattern up was my pattern up is always this: how many bedrooms or how many garages do you have, or something, right? And then they say, well, isn't that on the ad? But I've already broken the pattern. Oh yeah, that's right. You have 3. Well, tell me a little bit more about your house. Well, don't you have the ad? Well, I do, but I'd like to hear it from you. I figure you can sell better than the piece of paper I'm looking at. And then they say, well, yeah, it's 2 bedrooms, it's beautiful, it's all this, and we've broken the pattern. Okay? And why do we want to break patterns?
Because you don't want them to lead you.
Okay? Yes, very true. I like that answer, by the way. But good, Phil?
They can make up an answer for themselves that isn't true.
Well, that and they're going down a path like that is just destructive. Or I hate agents. I'll never work with an agent. You're probably one of those agents, and all of a sudden you're going down this path and this pattern and you're in this groove and you can't get out. And you're wondering, how do I get out of this? Right? It could be as simple. I often am even asked, what color socks are you wearing? What? I'm just kidding. So anyway, tell me a little more about your house. And now I broke the pattern. I want to break the patterns. Because the patterns, if they're not going down the right path, I've got to break them. I hate agents. I'll never work with an agent. I won't list with an agent. I won't meet with an agent. Hey, tell me, how many bedrooms and bathrooms are in your house? I got to be like totally over here to get them away from this line of thinking that they're in. And when I ask more questions, I begin to build more rapport. Okay? Alma did something really important that I want you to pay real close attention to. And he said, if I were you, I'd feel the same way too. Okay, it's really important. I hate agents. You hate agents. It's great. I hate most of them too. And the fact is that I have to work with them every day. Fortunately, you're only selling one house. I sell many houses. And I get where you're coming from. In fact, if I were you, I'd feel the same way too. Now you say, whoa, why would you say that? Yes, I say that on the phone all the time when I was prospecting. They say, well, we would never work with an agent. You know what? You'd never work with an agent? It's great. If I were you, I'd feel the same way too. Who would want to work with an agent? Now, you may say, why would I agree? Is that a new concept to anybody? Like, why would I agree with them?
Well, what you did was a takeaway.
Your understanding.
You're
You
building
did a
rapport.
takeaway, which then gets them to kind of actually come toward you
You're in
now.
their
Because now they're not retreating from you. You've just taken
Yeah,
that
that was
pressure.
you're in their corner.
Yeah.
Right, so here's the deal.
So that's-
If I say, if I were you, I'd feel the same way too. I wouldn't want to work with an agent if I were you. And then you then go and say, well, tell me, how many bedrooms and bathrooms do you have? And then they say, well, I told you I don't like agents. Well, I totally agree. I get it. If I were you, I'd feel the same way too. What you take away is anything to fight about. There's nothing to fight about. There's nothing to argue about. You've already acknowledged that you agree. If you were who? Them.
You're only agreeing with how they're feeling. You're not agreeing with what they're saying.
Correct. You're going right where I want to go, Wanda, and that is, I'm not asking you to lie, because if they're for sale by owner, do you believe they should stay a for sale by owner? Are you calling them a Maria because you want them to stay as a for sale by owner? That's not what you believe.
I don't get when they have a family member that tell them to go for sale by owner. thinking that they're gonna make more money doing that.
And they're a family member as an agent?
Was that?
Their family member as an agent?
Yeah, their family
Sure.
member as an agent.
It's always,
Right.
it's always, you know, something you doesn't have a lot.
Okay, so just, I want you to think about this, like over and over again in your life. I could still tell you a story of being in an argument. I still remember this, driving down 1300 East, I was in an argument with Jen. I remember we were going back and forth, and I remember looking, I wasn't driving, she was driving, right on 13th East, I'm driving, and I'm looking out the window, and I'm like, I know what I want. I know I can say the right thing, Ruby. I know I can say it. I can say, if I were you, I'd feel the same way too. And I'm like, I'm not saying it. I'm not going to say it. Pissed. And I still remember looking out the window. And she didn't know this now, because now she goes, don't use that voodoo on me. And I said, you know, sweetheart, if I were you, I'd feel the same way too. See? That's what I was trying to say. And I'm like, gosh. And because, I mean, but it like broke everything down. I mean, like, there's nothing to argue about, because all of a sudden she's like, he's listening, he heard me. So I just want to point out that it's really important, right? I mean, like, our highest human needs oftentimes are acceptance. Our highest human needs are, you know, to be loved, accepted, right? So all of a sudden, you're on, like you said, you're in their corner, you're on their side. So I say things like, I don't blame you. If I were you, I'd feel the same way too. Man, if I don't blame you one bit for not wanting to work with an agent. And all of a sudden they go, man, this guy gets me. This guy understands who I am. And it really, in truthfulness, works. And the reality is you know, look, the statement in more sincere tone, and that is, look, the more we each try to be, you know, understanding or to get into someone's world, or whether this term is, you know, seek ye first to understand before ye seek to be understood, that's a really good place to be in life. And trying to understand, instead of trying to make someone wrong for where they are, like, well, why would you want to sell on your own versus, hey, if I were you, I'd feel the same way too. And if I was them, and I have my own on the market, then it is what they are doing. It is what they would do because they're doing it. So all you're doing is acknowledging that it's okay. Hey, I don't blame you one bit. If I were you, I'd do the same thing too. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So pattern-ups, and then just a couple more, and then we'll roll here. Okay, this last one is level shifts. Simple level shifts for me, like real easy ones, are like, hey, how much is your commission? What I really hear you saying is you want to net the most money on your home. So tell me what's important about getting your home sold, right? That could be a level shift. I'm not going to focus on the commission, right? Or will you do an open house? What I really hear you saying, Matt, is not necessarily what I do an open house, but what really is, what else are you doing to get my home sold? May I share that with you? Right? I want to get the shift of focus. The level shifts are about getting people to focus. Like great salespeople get people to focus on the right stuff. Just the right stuff, whatever that is. If someone before you walked in and talked that for sale by owner, let's just take that as an example, and they sat in front of you, or they sat in front of an agent before you, and that agent was all about technology, the only thing that you worry about, Ruby, is, well, tell me about your technology. And I might go, oh my gosh, who were they talking to? And then my mind, that's what I've been. I would say, hey, Ruby, I can tell there's a huge commitment to wanting to know that you have the best service, the best technology, the best opportunity to get your home sold. So what I really hear you saying is, can you sell my home? Yeah. So let me ask you, do you believe that the MLS is going to sell your home? Do you believe these technologies are going to sell your home? Well, the last guy said they would. Let me ask you a question. Why are there 3,000 homes on the market and still 1,500 of them never sell every month? If technology was the only thing that sold a home, then why do we even have agents, and why do we still have so many people disappointed every single month for not having their home sold? Well, I don't know. Exactly. Because what it takes is an actual leader. And what I want them to focus on is leadership is the key to getting a home sold. It's navigating through the process. And I think there was a recent daily message, but I just want to point out that, look, everything that you do, technology, marketing, ads, software, hardware, meaning from signs to keyboard, all of it can be bought with money. And you guys know I've said that joke forever with my buddies, and I say, hey, go pick up some game. If we're going golfing, pick up some game before you show up at the course. Because you can't. And I've talked about this, right? You can have the best suit, you can have the best tie, you look all the parts, but then if you show up and all of a sudden, if you aren't right, in other words, on the inside of who you are, then it's unlikely that you're going to have any great experience in regards to getting a listing. Let me tell you something. Just listen closely to this. Very professional statement. If you're a jackass, scripts don't fix that. Just remember that. I'm just saying. Just think about that. It was, I wasn't following the script. No, you were a jackass before the script and you're still one now. The script didn't fix that. You don't care about the person. You're not worried about their well-being. You're only serving yourself by getting a commission. You're not worried about the outcome. You don't care whether they're really taken care of. And then you think that if you manipulate some script, that it should have worked. And I'm just here to tell you that if you don't come with a genuine, authentic, caring, sincere, really want to know, like, energy and truth, it's unlikely that you'll ever do a lot of business. And there's been many times in my career that people have come to me and said, hey, I've noticed. What have you noticed? There's agents in this company still today. And one of them was really successful. He said, I really don't care. And I've noticed, I actually think you do. I said, that's a big difference. I actually care about the person. I care about their well-being. I care about whether it works out. Everything else might fail, but in the end, I care about whether or not they win or don't win. So I just, again, would ask you to check your intentions throughout any call, any presentation, any movement in this business. When you're so self-absorbed about, well, I don't want to make calls, where's that energy coming from? It's all usually selfishness, and it's all about what you're going to feel and what you don't want to have happen, and you don't want to be rejected. And anyone who's willing to accept high levels of rejection makes high levels of money. Anyone who's like, today I can't have anybody tell me no, I'll just pray and hope business will show up. And there's a rejection because no one showed up and no one told you anything, or you go to an open house, or you go buy leads and you wait for everyone to call, and someone maybe walks in and you sit there and go, yep, see, I'm doing a great job. No, what you're doing is you're waiting. And you can say, well, could you make business waiting? Yeah, you can do some business waiting for business to happen. Show up at the right places and wait, and it'll happen. But if you want to take control of your life economically, then you have to recognize that if I'm willing to be rejected at a high level, then I'm going to earn an entirely different income than those who won't. And what's so crazy about this business, that we're in the real estate, note the word, sales business, and yet we try to do everything we can to not talk to people. It is fascinating to me. And I'm telling you, your decisions, in the end, just think about this. You are letting people who you will never, this is what's so stupid about this. You are letting people, I'm just getting the red of the room so everyone can feel this. You are letting people who you will never talk to, never do business with, never earn any money from, control your life. Fascinating. Because we don't want to be rejected, because we don't want to look dumb, because well, what if they say no? What if they cut their commission? Well, everyone's calling the same leads. So, I'll tell you this, if you can do all of that and other things that we'll get into, not today, but you do that stuff, all of it will come together. That is a promise, and you will sit there and go, this is a pretty easy business. But all this stuff weaved together will seem very easy. But I would just tell you to be incredibly focused on getting better.
You were saying when you're talking about whether you care or don't care, have empathy, most sellers and buyers can sniff that stuff out in a hurry.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't care, they're going to know. They're going to try to get it as far away from you as they possibly can.
Yeah.
Maybe you can mask it, maybe not, but in my experience, you have to show that you care.
Yeah. I have a smile because I'm always thinking about a thing that I swear every time you're in a training, I'm thinking, I usually say this story, people always talk about, well, real estate is so hard. And then Curtis is back there going, wait for it, wait. And I'll give this example, right? You ready, Matt? Ready. Let's just give perspective to what's hard. Okay? The Mayflower, half the people who showed up on it died and were dumped in the ocean. That was hard when they decided to say, hey, you know, I think I'm going to go across the ocean. You know, he showed up with scurvy, no teeth, starving. You know, I mean, and then I think about, like, you know, the thousands of pioneers that populated this great state who pulled a wagon cart. And then you guys are like, I'm getting a callus from dialing. You know, I mean, I'm like, or you'll like complain about a tummy ache, or you had a little dispute at home, or, you know, you didn't have a good night's sleep, or you stayed up too late and you couldn't make it in, and the morning's so early, and I mean, you get all this crap that you throw out there, and then I think then you'll say, it's just so hard. I just hope you put perspective to all that, because like people who like look at you go, you are in an air-conditioned building with like, you know, you're not music, you know, indoor plumbing. And let me make sure I'm clear here. You have to talk to how many people a day and call for how long? And then you talk to the guy who works out at Discover Card or American Express or Delta Airlines, and they're on a phone for 8 hours a day talking to complaining people like us, whining about why their flight was delayed, why they can't pay their credit card, and you get to make calls and let people live a dream. And then you'll come back and go, well, this is really hard. You only made a decision that was hard, because if you put perspective around it, it is not hard. In perspective to what everything else is going in this business or in our lives around us. So with that, can we make some calls? Yeah? Okay. So, all right. I don't even need my readers for that big. You must have changed that.
Do you want it on the big screen?
And then, well, so hopefully we can get a call. That's what I'm hoping. And then look, as we start now to set the stages of this, what I want you to go back to is this is what we're going to do, and let's make it happen. And then Maria, in 2 weeks from now, so what I want to start doing, and we'll start doing a lot more of this, every other week, is we will start doing the calls. We'll have this up here, and maybe, I don't know, Chris or someone, maybe even one of the managers could take a picture of that, and let's kind of make an outline. Everyone will have it, then we'll be able to rip through it quickly, and then we'll spend the majority of our time. But we now have like this platform, and I realize if I just go make a call without this, it doesn't work real well, because they go, wow, that was great. And then you don't know why it was great. I would ask you this. If you're having high levels of success, what I want to be able to ask you is, why are you having success? And if you're having it, why? Well, what I realized over the years, that when I say, oh, I made the connection, or I made the appointment, I can go back and go, oh yeah, I remember that moment where I interrupted their pattern. Oh yeah, I showed them some empathy. They really knew my intentions right. I got really deep into what really is this all about. Tell me a little bit more about that. Had to do a few level shifts because they were really focused on that commission thing, but man, we set the appointment and it's all good. Okay? Make sense? I want you to be able to like, oh, it's like a football game. If they won or lost, they go back and go, oh, we won because of this and we lost because of that. You should be able to do the same in this business. Why didn't I get it? Why didn't it work? What didn't happen? Right? There's other things I could write up here. Let's make a call, but how do you make a call out of these phones? I don't even answer the phone here.
No?
No, I haven't. I've never used my phone. I think I have messages back there too. I'm serious. I really do. I think I have messages.
Yeah.
I don't know who sends stuff there, but they
He
should.
needs to learn how to push the button to get the message.
You want me to dial for you?
Yeah, just dial. Let's just get it going. Keep dialing. I'll keep talking while you're dialing. And then and you have it on speakerphone?
I hope so.
You know, I hear Mike Ferry say something like that, and I'm like, I don't know how to use this. I'm like, how can that even be possible? And now I'm like one of those people who goes, I have no idea.
You're almost a grandpa. I mean, just saying.
Am I?
Not for me.
She's practicing right now. We're a very colorful family. And you said one of the worst things in a text that I'm not even going to say. Just to our whole family. Just like 2 days ago.
At the tone, please record.
Thank you, Ben. Anyone who comes around us, Joanne, says, you guys are so loud. We're kind of loud and obnoxious.
Jerry.
So we'll get this set up to what I want it to be, is where I have a headset. I'm able to speak to them, and then you'll also be able to hear the speaker portion of that. But I'll have a headset on. Okay? And if we can get it set up to a dialer in the future, that'll be great too.
Yeah, that's like 5 rings.
That's good.
That's like hang up, go to the next one.
So a couple other things then, why until something answers, let's just put this up so we're not wasting any time. So every great presentation, which is all that prospecting is about, is a couple of things, right? If I was doing a listing presentation thing, I would just say, how are you separate, right, the value? 1, how are you separating yourself? Sound bites, which are what I consider to be 5 to 30 second. 5 to 30 second little sound bites that could be as simple as, hey, you know what's so great about working with our company? There's over 500 agents across the Wasatch Front. So let me ask you this: what's important about moving? And many of these sound bites start off with that reminds me. Okay, that reminds me.
Please leave your message.
Or do you know what is so exciting? Okay. A lot of these things, of course, are in the script book. I just love to have one page where we're able to rip through it. But I want to be able to be able to check off on a box. Go, oh wow, there was a sound bite, right? A sound bite could be as simple as, hey, I've been doing this for 24 years. Hey, you know what's so great? We're the #1 office for Century 21. Hey, you know what's so great? I've been selling my whole life.
Hello,
Hello, I'm calling about the home for sale. Is this the owner?
this is Jenny. I'm helping my father sell it. Who's this?
Oh, hey, Jane. Hey, this is George Morris, local real estate agent with Century 21. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Good. Hey, I was just calling to set up an appointment with you to come out and preview the home and spend about 30 minutes with you sharing what we do to get a home sold in today's market. I've got my calendar open here, and I was just wondering what usually works better for you, the afternoons or evenings?
I'm not interested in signing up right at the moment.
Okay.
If you have a buyer that you'd like to bring by, we can talk then. Otherwise, I have to pay the 3%. The specs are listed, and if you're interested, come on by. Otherwise, I'm not wanting to sign up.
Yeah. Well, in fairness, if I were you, I'd feel the same way too. Especially, how long has the home been on the market?
A couple days.
Oh, just a couple of days. Good for you. So now share with me. So you mentioned that you're willing to pay a partial commission, a 3% commission.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Well, and that for me, when I always hear that, is that's the very reason we should get together for 2 reasons. One, if you like what I have to offer and share with you very quickly, great. If not, you'll expose your home to a top agent who sells a ton of property, and the worst thing that happens is you expose your home to that top agent, to that top company who sells a ton of property, and either way you win. Does that make sense?
It does. Do you not have a buyer at the moment?
You know what? That's a great.
Interested for a property like mine?
Well, in fairness, with the number of homes that we sell as an organization, and truly being truthful back to you, the answer is yes. But the reality is that the only way I can ultimately know if I have a buyer for your home is to see the home, review it, and at the same time, of course, I'd love to share a thought or two with you about what we do to get homes sold. But the worst thing, just to give you perspective, Century 21 just across the Wasatch Front will sell over 7,000 different properties, and 60% of those are buyers. So the answer to your question is, are there buyers? The answer is heavens yes. And so that's part of what I would recommend is taking a look at it. And look, taking completely off the table of whether we work together or not, I always say that the worst thing that happens is exposure. And in fairness to you, the more you expose it, the better chance you have of selling it.
Correct.
So are you open to me spending about 15 or 20 minutes and previewing the property just very quickly?
I will. You'll have to get back with me in like a week. Today's my only day off, and
Okay.
I'm up to my neck in to-dos.
Yeah, fair enough.
Um,
Well,
Call
again-
me in a week if you wish.
yeah, and I absolutely am more than happy to call you in a week. Tell me just a little bit about the home. How many bedrooms and bathrooms? Because I don't have the ad right in front of me either.
It is a multi-level, so you walk in and there's a kitchen and living room, and then you go upstairs to 2 bedrooms and a full bathroom, or you go downstairs to a family room, and then down another set of stairs. So it's a multi-level, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms actually, because there's one downstairs.
Nice. And then you're asking $348 for it right now?
Correct.
Okay, great. Well, share with me just very quickly. Tell me a little bit about just the. So you had it on the market for a couple days. I'm sure you've been inundated with every realtor known to mankind, and which I apologize for that. I know that's always not easy to have happen. But what's been the experience so far of just actual buyers looking at the property?
No one wants to bring a buyer by. They all want me to sign up, which is a little discouraging for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because I think that the proof or the pudding is, if you're interested in the property, it isn't just about signing it up, it's about bringing a buyer by.
Sure.
So,
Well, one of the things I would love to share with you is just some of the exclusive strategies and programs that we do use, which I know a lot of people will share those things with you. But at the same time, look, obviously you're out sometime before you're going to make an ultimate decision to whether you're going to work with an agent or not work with an agent from a listing standpoint. But the best thing that could, right? Pardon?
I'm just somebody walking by.
Oh, okay. I was just going to say that the worst thing again that happens is we preview the property, and just working with the number of buyers that we do as an organization, that's the best chance of getting the property sold. Here's what I promise you. You're never going to feel from me some crazy, forceful type of approach to the business. If it look, I was jokingly, and it's kind of a little tongue in cheek, but I'm not trying to show up at your home trying to make your life worse. And I'm also not trying to show up at your home to try to take advantage of a situation on a home that you could simply just sell on your own. It's always the case of, can we help you sell it for the most money? Could we help you put more money into your pocket? Could we help it be a better experience for you? But even if it doesn't work out, with the number of homes that we sell, you're going to win from that opportunity anyway. And frankly, you're in our backyard. Our main offices are right here in Cottonwood Heights. And so it probably would serve you very well to at least have someone who's previewed the home, look at the home, understand what you're trying to accomplish, and if the future holds to where we could do something together, if it hasn't sold, what we'd hope is just to be one of the choices that you'd consider. Does that sound fair enough?
That sounds fair.
Okay. So I can call you, but how about this? Is we just this time is money. We're moving into a different market. Rates have risen just a little bit. What does your schedule look like at the end of this week? Maybe a Thursday or Friday for like 15 minutes. It doesn't matter whether it's morning, afternoons, or evening. Anything will work.
Well, I work full time, and I work retail, so the hours are crappy.
And where do you work? What do you do?
Well, I just work retail.
Okay.
If you could call me Friday, call me.
Well, could we do this?
Touch base with me on Friday.
Okay, I will. How about? What was your name? Is Jenny?
Yeah.
So Jenny, can we set up a tentative appointment and then I can call you on Friday to confirm that? Just because I'm one of those guys who's prospecting nonstop and calling people nonstop and trying to,
No, because I have a lot on my plate.
Sure.
You're welcome to just call me on Friday.
Okay.
And see if we can set up an appointment.
Okay.
For possibly that evening. I have a lot on my plate, so I'm going to have to wing it as I go.
Sure. Well, I was going to say, Jenny, it sounds like you may be too busy to sell the house.
that might be the reality of it.
Which is tough, I know. So now you mentioned you're helping your father. Is the home? Are you living in the home? Are you occupying the home, or is it a home that is an investment, or is it? Okay, fair enough. And then in regards to just the price, how did you guys happen to determine the sales price?
Research.
Okay, all right, fair enough, fair enough. So did you have an actual appraisal, or was it more from other analysis from others?
Just my own work.
Okay.
Hey, I need to go.
Okay.
I can't talk any longer.
Okay, so Jenny, if we meet, you're thinking on Friday evening as a possibility?
I'm thinking,
Maybe early evening?
call me Friday, and I get my first break around noon.
Okay,
So call and leave a message, and I'll see if I can call you back.
okay,
I'm not available till 7:30.
okay. And then what about the possibilities of Saturday morning? Are you going to be working?
I actually don't know my schedule that far out.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Hey Jenny, I know you're going to be inundated with a number of other calls. Is this the best number to reach you on, or is another a better number?
This is the best number.
Okay. And for you, just very quickly, what do you think would have to happen for you to consider working with a real estate agent?
Not have any bites on it.
Okay.
I
Okay.
have plenty of bites, so
Okay.
I'm
And
happy with where I am.
sure, you bet. And just in relationship to an additional 3% on that sales price, I mean, it sounds like if we were able to just even help you earn another $10,000 or $15,000 on the sale of the property, but not have it cost you any additional money, if that was even a possibility. I haven't done the research on the property yet. But would that be something that you would consider if you could get all that you needed out of it economically and at the same time?
Okay, I don't want to, I can't talk anymore.
Okay.
So our conversation's done.
All right. Well, Jenny, I appreciate it. I'm going to call you on Friday at noon, and then we'll see where that takes us.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks so much. All right. Well, there you go. Well, we didn't get it, but I have to tell you, I probably would be on that one, just the situation. If it were me, I would be very assertive on that deal. And what I mean by that is, if it's me, I'm going to be going knocking the door. I'm going to probably even go, even though it's vacant, I'd probably drop by it. I'd take a picture of it. I'd send her a text. I'd probably say, hey, I dropped by your property. You remember me? We talked about it. You had to go real quick. And I can tell that if I just am relentless on my lead follow-up on that lead, is that I have a really good chance of taking that listing.
Probability, she's too busy.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
happens if you had a buyer today?
Yeah.
What would she do?
Right. Yeah.
So then one thing I would have maybe added in there is that you taught me years ago. Maybe you don't remember this. But
If it was good, I will.
oh yeah. So
I'm just kidding.
it would have been, hey, okay, so you can't meet till Friday. Well, let's do this. I'll actually be in the area.
All right,
Between
yeah.
now and then, I can do some research on the
Oh, yeah?
property.
I didn't do that.
Identify the numbers, and then if you're okay with it, I'll just pop in and share with you what I had.
Yeah.
Kind of on Friday.
I love that.
And then that gives you some time on the market. That gives me some time to do research, and then we can kind of meet at that time. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I really believe, we should keep track of that, but someone should, Matt, you want to take that and be relentless on it? Have you ever called him?
I called her twice. I talked to her, at noon yesterday and last night, but I couldn't get an appointment either.
So I would, if it were me, I really would. I would just do everything I can to somehow get connected to her. I would send a text. I would drop by the property. Probably send a quick shot of the property. I mean, it's within probably 5 minutes of here.
Yeah, she has no pictures of the inside posted, so it's it's an older home.
Yeah. So I would really make the effort to do that, and then. As she has said, she'll work. And again, all this is sometimes I used to draw this up here on a piece of paper or on the board. But look, there's a bus, and I call it the FISBO bus, and there's a stop sign. She's going to get off, and frankly, it's whoever's there at that moment, at that time, is who's going to get the listing. So the reality is the majority of things like this will come because of the lead follow-up from that standpoint, and. I would just do everything I can to get a hold of her. So if others of you have called her, man, just get in front of her somehow, some way. And again, she's been there, 2-3 days then?
Yeah.
So in 2, 3, 4 more days, she's going to be like, okay, I've had enough.
Yeah.
And she will. And it's going to be someone who got a hold of her, was there at the right moment, at the right time, that she connected with, that she says, okay, enough.
Sounds like she's already there.
Yeah. I mean, she's close. I can tell. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I would do everything I could to try to get a hold of her. Pardon?
Even if a buyer saw the ad on KSL or Zillow or wherever it is and called and said, hey, can I come see it on Friday at 2 o'clock? No, that doesn't work. Well, Friday, 7:30.
Right.
I'll show
Yep.
the seller out.
Anything else that you would do? Anything you did or didn't like on the call?
Oh, I did, just a thought, just the tone in her voice, and, you know, she has a lot on her plate.
Yeah, you could tell.
Maybe a little more empathy. I mean, I've worked retail, I know how hard retail is.
Yeah.
That's a
is long.
low-paying, exhausting
Yeah.
job. And, you know, has her father just been put in hospice, assisted living?
Yeah.
You know, that whole thing, which means she's probably not only taking care of the house, but she's still somehow taking care of him.
Yeah.
And all kinds of stuff, so
Yeah.
maybe even connecting more on the empathy.
As I was sitting there, because she had such an edge to what she was doing, and she never really ultimately lost the edge. I don't know if that was your experience a little bit too, but I totally agree. In fact, and Ginger, I
put on that tough facade to get through it.
And I felt it. And I was sitting there, I'm like, what question would I ask? And I really felt like if I asked about her father, it was going to even be more offensive to her. I mean, my gosh, I asked her what type of retail she was doing, Ruby, and she was like, retail. So I still didn't even, I mean, again, but I can tell, man, she's at that breaking point to where she's going to do something. So I totally agree with you. Any other thoughts, comments, observations?
You matched her tone perfectly, and her speed.
Yeah, and I slowed down a lot. In fact, actually, I'm like, okay, I gotta kneel down here because
when you got down on the
match
ground
up.
and got closer to the phone and all
Right.
of that,
Yeah.
it was.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
more where she was coming from.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, I've never seen you go into that tone and personality. Like personally, it's selfish or otherwise, but
yeah,
that was cool to see.
Definitely wasn't his own.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's not what we're used to.
Yeah, usually not. Only with Kenzie and Matt Fisbo am I like that.
I can see if you were face to face with them, it would have been a done deal. It was a done deal for me, and I was like, I'm not even doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, whoever gets in front of this woman is going to get this deal.
You can definitely, if you can see a connection through a speaker, you can definitely imagine a connection with someone.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Yeah. Just a thought that I've heard, by the way, lately. Might consider something like this. Is anybody FaceTiming their people?
Seller?
Yeah. Why would you not FaceTime her?
On these calls?
Yeah. Just consider it. Just say, you know what? I took a gamble. And you know what? I just feel really feel like we need to connect, and I want to see who's calling you. If that was me, that's what I would be doing next.
After Nick Bailey's thing, when he suggested that.
Or you could send a video to her, right? Just saying, hey, send her a text.
A video text.
Okay. Yeah, thoughts, comments? Did you raise your hand too, Chris? I can't remember. Then we'll wrap up.
No,
here.
yeah, she just, I mean, what she needs to hear in identifying the basic needs, she needs it to be easy. So she needs someone to say, like, I'm here to take this load off.
Yeah.
So she needs you to empathize, but if you come in and you're like, I'm gonna tell you like 1 to 2 ways to make this process so much easier, and that's gonna be a big selling point.
The one thing, like literally right when I got off the call, was I really do not believe that I did this very well, which was I think I did like rates of speech well. I felt like there was a good connection. I thought that she almost made the appointment. I think that if I can do all those things and actually get a hold of her and be relentless on Friday, and then if I don't get a hold of her Saturday morning, or when she gets off at 7:30 at night, boom, at 7:45, man, 7:30, I'm calling her again. I would be, if I'm you, I am relentless. I like a dog with a bone, will not let go of it. But I know I didn't say, hey, so maybe, Ginger, I could have gotten into here where it's like, hey, well, share with me, what's most important about getting the home sold? And, help me understand a little more about that, what you're trying to accomplish. And maybe I could have opened up and created a better level of rapport, and then I could have opened up the other things and felt, but that's my point.
Why you need to help
I mean, just for the record, when was the last time I did this? I mean, it's been a while since I've called for sale by owner, Maria, just for the record. But I would just tell you that, again, there's nothing you can't learn, nothing you can't do, and, go make it happen. So, any thoughts, comments, helpful?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do more of it. So I'm gonna do it again in 2 weeks, and then we'll have the printout, and then we'll add some more of these things in here, and we'll just keep adding this thing, and then we'll even get it to where you don't have to be my live personal dialer, which is probably a little bit below your pay grade, but you did a great job. So
getting paid for it.
Yeah, that's right. You're the only one getting paid for that.
Yeah.
So that's the good news.
Woman called Jenny on Friday.
Yeah. Okay, exactly. Any thoughts, questions, comments?
Good work.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, well, I hope it helps. I love doing it. It's fun. I mean, some of my first interactions with Curtis were calling the seller with Justin Trushansky, and he split in and we call it the seller. I mean, look, I think you should be asking every manager, if you can't make the call, do it with them.
There's nobody else that's gonna do that.
Oh, there is.
That's why so many people came to the company to begin with.
You know, I'll always call a seller with you and go get a price reduction. I mean, you know, just whatever you need. So if we can do it, we'll do it. So, I'm trying to think, anything else? Anything else? Am I missing anything like that? No? Okay, it's fun. We're good?
So one of the greatest things was that you avoided argument at all costs. You just kept her thinking, every time she thought that she was done with the conversation, you asked the question, kept the door open. But it was very...
Low-key, easygoing. And I'm okay if she's not the next call. If I do all those things on 25 calls a day, I will set 2 to 3 appointments a day.
Okay.
So,
nobody wins an argument.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
Thanks. Oh, wow. Really?
I forgot it. I went back. I'm still like,